Hi, my name is Chris Washburne, and I'm a trombone player. And today, I'm going to talk to you about trombone in Latin music. The trombone is a very important solo instrument in a lot of different Latin American and Caribbean music styles. But in order to be able to play them, and play them well, you need to pay attention just like you would if you wanted to become a jazz trombone player by learning how the early masters played and moving forward. In my career, I've had the opportunity to play with some of the top Latin groups in the world, including Eddie Palmieri and Tito Puente and Celia Cruz and Mark Anthony. And I had to really change my approach, not to music making, but kind of learning the style from the inside out, right from the beginnings. The first thing, for instance, if you want to play music from Cuba or Puerto Rico, which is oftentimes called mambo or salsa, you need to learn how that music came about, and also the role of the trombone early on as a solo instrument. So you need to pay attention to some of the masters like Toho Jimenez from Cuba or Barry Rogers from here in New York City. Now, one of the fundamental differences in Latin music compared to jazz is the rhythm. And the rhythms are not swung eighth notes, they're more straight eighth notes, but more importantly, there is a rhythm that dictates or kind of organizes all of the music, and that is called the clave, and it sounds like this. It's a 5-beat phrase. One is 2, and the other one is 3. One of the things you can think about is that the 2 part is on the beat, and the 3-beat part is a little bit more syncopated. So when you're taking a melody and you're playing it in a Latin context, you need to adjust to that rhythmic framework. So what I like to do, and the easiest way to learn this, is you can buy apps on your iPhone or even on the computer and program that rhythm and just play with it and practice it. At the same time, learn so that you internalize it in a way that you would internalize beats 2 and 4 in a jazz context, and to create melodies and rhythms that fit in that rhythmic framework. I'll give you an example. So here's the clave rhythm. In other words, I'm playing melodies that are fitting with those rhythms to kind of internalize them. That's the first step. But just like in so many other musics, there are a lot of other musicians playing, and you need to learn how the trombone fits with those. Now, one of the things that's the most identifiable characters that you'd be soloing on top of is something called the guajeo or the montuno that is played by the piano. And those are kind of these little melodies that are repeat over and over again that you'll solo on top of. So here's an example of what a piano player might play in a guajeo or montuno. So you start to mimic the other parts on the trombone to learn the fundamentals and how to build a solo. The other thing is that in Latin music, oftentimes the solos are built over just repeating harmonic vamps. 1 or 2 chords or 3 chords over and over again. The vamp that I just played for you was D minor to G minor to A7 over and over again. So we have to think about how would you solo over those chords in a much more simpler format than some of the chord structures that you would get in a jazz setting. So you need to change that way. So you think about practicing those chords over and over again to come up with solos like this. start with the fundamentals and the basic building blocks of the new style and slowly move into it. For me personally, I was drawn to this music because it really gave me the possibility of playing a lead role as a trombone player in so many types of groups. You really play supportive roles. If you're in an orchestra, you might have a solo every once in a while, or in a big band every once in a while, but you don't get to play the lead role. In Latin music, oftentimes the trombones are the lead solo instruments, and for me, that makes it a lot more fun. Thank you.